Hey, welcome to Mullen Stock. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications by hitting the bell so you never miss any of our uploads. And also remember that this is not a financial advice video. Today, when I'm talking to you about Mullen Stock Buyback Program, I wanted to address two questions because many people are curious about why Mullen isn't buying its stock, especially when the stock price has seen a significant drop. So I want to answer that. And secondly, many are asking why Mullen isn't buying the float. I want to answer that too. Now, let's get straight to the point. If you're not aware, it was announced on July 6th that Mullen Automotive has initiated a 25 million stock buyback program. This program is valid until December 31, 2023. Out of this program, Mullen has repurchased approximately 5.6 million shares so far, leaving around 19 million more to go. But many are wondering why Mullen isn't buying such cheap stock despite the price drop. The answer lies with Nasdaq. Despite the recent Nasdaq hearing we might find out very soon, within the next 10 days, whenever that hearing took place, as I believe they submitted the appeal letter on September 5th, or the hearing date would be at least by October 20th. So we don't know when it happened, but we'll find out. But the answer is because if Mullen receives a no from the Nasdaq hearing, even if it's a minor one, they'll be shifted to the OTC. Liquidity in the OTC is quite challenging, especially if you turn to toxic lenders. But OTC is tough for any company. That's why companies there have to save every penny. According to Mullen last earnings, they have approximately $214 million in cash and cash equivalents, with $13 million in restricted cash. That doesn't count because it's mostly for Bollinger and other bookings. So they don't have much cash. They have to keep all of that, so they understand this and are managing the risk they have in front of them. If they get dropped to the OTC, unfortunately, I think they won't buy back anything at all, whereas if they can stay on the Nasdaq, they'll try to take advantage of this buyback program to boost the stock price, as near Nasdaq. This is a program that they see as quite useful for actually increasing the stock price. In addition, there's an impending reverse stock split, of course. So again, here is the answer to your questions. They will just wait for Nasdaq to make their decision in the hearing. And remember that no matter what, there's the up to part. They can only buy back $1. And with a suggestion, they're not wrong because here it's written up to 25 million. This is a small advisory point. So in a way, if they decide to stay on Nasdaq and decide not to buy back any shares, they're not really wrong. Yes, buying back usually helps in emotions and many other things. So who knows, you should decide whether this is good or bad because I'm not a financial advisor, so it's good to keep that in mind. The other thing I want to talk about is that many people are saying that Mullen should buy back its float in just one go. It should increase its market cap to $25 million. Just buy back the float. Because now in the case of Mullen, the market cap is around $45.12 million. So if Mullen were to buy back that $19 million in one go, theoretically the stock price should go up at least 40 to 45%, based on theory, that is, in theory. Again, many people are saying that Mullen should just buy the float. I think some things should be clear. First of all, I think those people don't really know what they're talking about because if they are saying Mullen should buy back the float, it means Mullen should go private. And going private right now would harm a lot of investors, about 90%. If you maybe bought in this week, you might make a little profit, but still, most other people could suffer significant losses. Only Mullen and David would benefit, no matter how bad it might be. So again, I understand that many people are saying Mullen should buy the float. They are saying it quite casually. Perhaps they mean Mullen should buy a significant portion of the float. So again, that's one thing. So if they go and say, let's buy $40 million and leave $5 million, yes, this is a significant proposal and it holds weight. But whether it makes sense for Mullen is another question you have to answer because, as I mentioned, they bought back about $5.6 million out of approximately $214 million. And these numbers were as of June 30, 2023, a whole quarter had passed, and there was a quarter where they had started operations. At this time, they have incurred approximately $5.4 million in operating expenses from G&A and R&D until June 30 during that time, which does not include any actual production or operational advancements. These are primarily related to hiring and such expenses, so you need to keep that in mind. It could be around $60 to $70 million, or maybe even more. This is just my estimate for the last quarter, which ended on September 30. So the $214 million they currently have might technically be closer to around $140 to $150 million after subtracting everything. Again, this is just my own estimate. Is it possible that Mullen uses a significant portion of this for short-term stock price gains? Buying $40 million in stock, in my opinion, could significantly boost the stock price. However, is this a valid strategy? Especially if Mullen won't have a lot of cash in the upcoming quarter. It means that by the end of Q1, Mullen will actually have to dilute its shares. Does it make sense for Mullen to frequently buy a part of its float when it will need to dilute it in the near future? In my opinion, no. This is just my opinion, without a doubt. But if they can find a better way to make money, maybe through a line of credit from big banks like Bank of America or JP Morgan, rather than going to toxic lenders, it might make more sense. Buying the float is probably not enough. It might be a temporary trade to help, but often these trades are not permanent. Also, based on Mullen lawsuit, it seems that institutions had more shares than were counted. So is the buyback only purchasing synthetic shares or real ones? I think this could be a question on Mullen's mind as well. I think Mullen might have some PTSD at this point, especially regarding that lawsuit or the original complaint. Just answering those two questions, in my opinion, Mullen will repurchase its shares, especially if they want to stay on the Nasdaq. As to the second part, if they are buying the float, in my opinion, that is not part of the plan. It doesn't make sense for Mullen to do that. But again, this is just my opinion. Do you think Mullen should buy the float, even if it means dilution in the upcoming quarter? I'm just putting that thought in front of you. Remember, we are technically in their Q1 because their Q4 ended on September 30, 2023. What is your viewpoint? I think some long-term investors who have been investing since 2022 would want to see the stock price increase. And this is an easy way to do that, by purchasing a significant portion of the float, not the entire float, but a significant portion, and yes, it can help, but as I mentioned, it's a temporary patch. The only way to truly increase the stock price is with revenue generated from operations, something that Mullen needs to work on. Guys, that's all we have for you today. What is your opinion about Mullen stock? Get involved and let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.